In a quiet village surrounded by green hills and golden fields, there lived a farmer named Arjun. He was known for his wisdom and patience, and people often came to him for advice. One morning, Arjun decided to plant a few seeds in his backyard: mango, banyan, and one tiny seed he didn't recognize. It was small, fragile, and unimpressive, but something about it felt special. He planted them all in neat rows, covered them with soil, and whispered. Days turned into weeks. The mango and banyan sprouted quickly, lifting their green heads toward the sky. But the little seed showed no sign of life. Arjun watered it daily, whispered encouragements, even protected it from birds, but nothing. The villagers mocked him. Arjun only smiled. Everything grows at its own time. Under the soil, deep in darkness, that small seed could hear everything. The whispers, the laughter, the doubt, and for the first time, the seed began to feel angry. In its frustration, the seed tried to push itself up before it was ready. It forced its tiny roots upward instead of down. It broke the soil surface too soon with weak, pale leaves that couldn't handle the sunlight. The wind laughed, the rain pounded, and within days the fragile shoot withered. But Arjun didn't give up. He planted another of the same seed nearby, whispering again. The new seed listened quietly, and this time, instead of fighting the soil, it began to embrace it, sending roots deep, deep down, even though no one could see its effort. While the others grew tall above, it grew strong below. Weeks passed. Then one fine morning, Arjun noticed a small green sprout piercing through the earth, firm, fresh, and glowing with life. He smiled. There you are. You took your time. And that made all the difference. Spring turned to summer and summer to monsoon. The once quiet village came alive with thunder, rain, and the smell of wet earth. In Arjun's backyard, the plants swayed in the wind. The proud mango, the mighty banyan, and the once forgotten little sprout that had finally grown strong enough to stand beside them. But nature had a test planned. Dark clouds rolled in, heavy and angry. The sky rumbled like a lion waking from sleep. Wind howled through the valley, shaking branches, tearing leaves, bending trunks. Arjun ran outside shouting, "Hold on, little ones!" as if his words could shield them. The mango tree, tall and confident, faced the storm with pride. "I am strong," it whispered. "My leaves are wide, my trunk thick, no storm can break me." But the roots of the mango were shallow. They had grown fast but not deep. When the storm hit hardest, lightning struck nearby. The mango's trunk cracked, its leaves scattered across the yard. Next, the banyan tried to fight. Its massive branches spread like arms, defying the wind. But its pride became its weakness. The larger the tree, the harder it was to bend. A powerful gust roared through, snapping one of its heavy limbs. The great banyan groaned and fell halfway to the ground. But the little plant, and the one that had waited quietly in darkness, stood differently. It didn't fight the wind, it bent with it. It didn't shout against the storm. It simply held firm, letting its deep roots anchor it to the earth. All night the storm raged. All night the small plant swayed, not breaking, just breathing through the chaos. When morning came, sunlight broke through the clouds. The ground was littered with fallen leaves and broken branches. The mango was gone. The banyan leaned, wounded but alive. And there, standing tall and green, was the little plant. Glowing in golden light, its roots buried deep, its stems steady. Arjun knelt beside it, smiling through tears. He whispered. He watered it gently, feeling a strange sense of pride. The villagers who had once mocked him now stood at the fence, whispering in awe. Arjun replied, "Because it didn't hurry to be seen. It worked to be strong." That day, the seed's quiet patience became its power. While others grew for attention, it grew for endurance. And that's the secret the world often forgets. Not every growth is visible, but all real growth begins unseen. The village slowly recovered from the storm, but something was different now. In Arjun's backyard, among the fallen branches and broken trees, a small green plant had begun to flourish. The villagers came often, surprised to see how fast it was growing. Not wild, but steady, strong, graceful. "Arjun," one of them said, "that tiny plant, it looks healthier than any tree here." Arjun smiled, because it didn't rush to bloom. It learned to endure before it learned to grow. The villagers nodded, but they didn't yet understand what he meant. Seasons changed again. The plant stretched higher and higher, its trunk growing thick and its branches wide. It wasn't as tall as the old banyan or as famous as the mango trees that once bore fruit, but it was something else entirely. Its leaves stayed green even in dry heat. Its roots reached deep into the soil. bringing moisture and life to the ground around it. Birds began nesting in its branches. Children from the village started playing in its shade. Arjun often sat under it, closing his eyes, feeling peace he hadn't felt in years. And give it did. When summer came, travelers passing by the dusty road often stopped to rest under its cool shade. When rains came, it held the soil together, protecting nearby houses from erosion. When winter came, its dried leaves became compost, enriching the earth. It was no longer just a plant. It had become a giver of life. One day, a young boy from the village came to Arjun. "Uncle," he asked, "why didn't this tree grow as fast as the others?" Arjun smiled, pointing at the trunk. "Because it wasn't in a hurry. It took time to build its strength below the ground before showing it above. But the others grew faster," the boy said innocently. "Yes," Arjun replied, "but they were growing for attention. This one grew for purpose." The boy looked thoughtful. "So, slow growth is not bad?" Arjun placed a hand on the boy's shoulder and said. The boy smiled, his eyes wide with understanding. "Then I'll be like this tree." Arjun laughed softly. "Then you'll never fall." Years later, that little plant became the heart of the village. People met under it to share stories, rest, and celebrate festivals. Children tied swings to its branches. Travelers marked it as a landmark. It became known as the Tree of Patience. Every time someone faced failure or felt left behind, they would come sit under its shade, look up, and remember Arjun's words. The tree had become a living lesson, not just in survival, but in purpose. The once young Arjun had grown old. His hair had turned silver, and his steps had slowed, but his eyes still carried the same warmth, like the golden sunlight that filtered through the leaves of his beloved tree. Every morning he would walk to his backyard with his cane, sit beneath the great tree and watch life unfold. Children laughing, birds chirping, villagers chatting under its shade. The tree had become more than just a plant. It was the soul of the village. Arjun would smile quietly to himself and whisper. One evening, the sky blazed orange as the sun began to set. Arjun sat beneath the tree, feeling the cool breeze brush his face. A few villagers gathered nearby, chatting about the day's work. Among them was the same young boy who had once asked about the slow-growing seed, now a grown man named Dev. He approached Arjun and said, "Uncle, you were right. The strongest things in life take time. This tree is living proof." Arjun smiled faintly. "Yes, Dev. People chase quick results, fast success, instant fame, sudden growth. But real success takes patience, pain, and perseverance." He looked up at the branches above him. This tree didn't rush to grow tall. It waited until it had deep roots, and that's why it stands unshaken, even after storms. Dev nodded silently, sitting beside him. Arjun closed his eyes for a moment, resting against the tree trunk. The wind whispered softly through the leaves, almost like the tree was speaking back to him. That evening, as the sun disappeared behind the hills, Arjun's breathing slowed, and then stopped, peacefully, quietly, beneath the tree that had once been a seed he refused to give up on. The next morning, the villagers found him sitting there, a gentle smile frozen on his face. No one cried loudly. Instead, they placed flowers around the roots and bowed their heads in silence. Dev stepped forward and said, They carved a small wooden sign at the base of the tree that read, "Years turned into decades." Generations came and went. The tree grew massive, spreading its branches across half the village. Students studied beneath it. Lovers met under its shade. Old men sat there, telling stories about a farmer named Arjun who believed in slow, silent growth. One day, a teacher brought a group of children to visit the tree. She told them, "Do you see this? This tree teaches us something no book can. Never rush your destiny. Even when the world mocks your pace, trust your roots. The strongest trees grow the slowest." A little girl looked up and asked softly, "So, miss, should we not wait to grow?" The teacher smiled. The children clapped, their laughter filling the air as leaves rustled above them, as if the tree itself was applauding. Growth is not about how fast you reach the sky, but how deep your roots go beneath the earth. Don't wait for the perfect time to grow. Start small, stay patient, and build your strength in silence. Because one day, like Arjun's tree, your growth will not just change your life. It will give shade, comfort, and hope to others who come after you.